Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's go over what is happening today, what happened today, what we can expect moving into the rest of the week. A pretty spicy week, especially for NVIDIA. Tomorrow we have, of course, Jensen talking at the convention, I think at around like the afternoon, I believe it is. We have JPOW on Wednesday. Tomorrow is also the expiration. We have OPEX on Friday. A pretty big week in the market, but a week that I believe the market has a chance to potentially, place a decent bottom, at least for, a short term, if you will, maybe even medium term bottom. But yeah, let's talk about NVIDIA. I'll give you my thoughts. And yeah, if you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, I do share my thoughts with my members every single day the market is open. For just $3 a month, link is below in the description of the video. You get access to mainly Tesla thoughts, posts, updates, etc., as the market is trading, mainly on Tesla, sometimes other stocks. Or for $5 a month, you get access to the second tier, which includes NVIDIA, plus everything in the first tier. But jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day down 1.76%, closing at 119.5 per share, which compared to the market is going to be a bit of an underperformance today, but not an underperformance that should be, a surprise, I guess, right? I mentioned this exactly. It pretty much played out exactly like the way I wanted it to, and I actually did enter shares today, right? Like I said I would. I said I would enter shares at pretty much 118. That's exactly where I got to. Almost to you really couldn't make this up. I think the lowest was quite literally 118.03, and I entered, I think, at like 118.16 or something like that. I think it was. Again, that was the level I was waiting for, and that's the level I got in, which I'm very thankful for. But it's not abnormal, right? This is perfectly normal behavior. Why is that? Because, well, I mentioned how we're kind of stair-stepping up. I said the same thing on Friday, right? We're stair-stepping up, and that's exactly what we're doing. Where we're taking each level that was a resistance, which you can see right here, for instance, broke above it, turned into support. Next level, bam. Now this level that was a resistance, turn into support, come back down, bam, right? This 118, 117 range, right? We could have went to 117, you don't know for sure, but 118 to 117 is usually a, anyway, sorry, I got distracted. That rough range is kind of where you would expect support to kick in, because again, it's just, you're stair stepping, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, right? Break above, next one, next one, next one. It's, NVIDIA's, again, I do like the stock quite a bit, mainly because NVIDIA tends to just, it respects technicals quite a bit. It's a very technical respecting stock, which, is very nice. I mean, again, this is one I do regret. I actually did enter, but I sold way too early because I was just in too many other positions. I just felt overburdened. I don't know if that's the word. Just too many things were happening essentially. So I ended up exiting too early for a small profit, but nonetheless. But even down here, I was talking about this level ever since we were up here. You can go back to this video right up here, when we were in the 140s in late February. I was talking about these levels. These levels I was talking about for quite some time. We got to them, bounced. And now, NVIDIA is performing pretty well, right? It's above the cloud. Now we just need the cloud to start turning to green. It'll be even better, of course. And I think the stock is overall looking pretty good. Now, there is a concern. I'm not going to lie. It's not perfect, right? Despite the 1 hour still looking pretty solid, the daily is starting to look pretty solid. And my target for at least 126, but I wouldn't be surprised if we come closer to 130 sometime within the next 2 weeks. That wouldn't shock me. But there is one concern. And the one concern is the fact that we could be potentially, this arguably, I don't know if this is, maybe someone else can chime in. Bearish piercing candle. It does kind of look like a bearish piercing candle, but I'm not sure if it's valid as one. And the reason I'm not sure if it's valid as one, and this is what a bearish piercing candle looks like. This one, I guess you can say, right? You can see this one right here on the right. This is kind of the one we're printing, where we had a nice green candle here, and then we had a red candle that started higher but closed at or lower of the halfway point of the previous day candle, which is exactly what we did. Nice green candle, started higher, closed at or below the halfway point of the previous green candle. That's exactly what we did. However, the one thing I'm not sure if this invalidates it, which again, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the wick. The fact that we wicked technically below yesterday's low, but ended up coming back above, does this wick down here invalidate this from being a bearish piercing candle? Because in all the examples I look at, it never wicks below the previous candles, right? It only, you can see all these examples. The red candle has never went or wicked below the green candle from the prior two, right? So I'm not 100% sure if this counts as a bearish piercing. Again, if someone is also knowledgeable or more knowledgeable or whatever in TA, in the comments below, definitely let me know. I'm kind of iffy about it. I'm not sure if this invalidates that, but for now we can assume the worst, and assuming that it is a bearish piercing candle. But nothing really changes in the sense that the same levels want to hold, right? At the end of the day, the same levels want to hold, right? NVIDIA, again, if it somehow happens to sell off even further tomorrow, which you never know, right? Last time Jensen had a convention that he spoke at, NVIDIA absolutely tanked. It printed a bearish engulfing candle and absolutely, no, sorry, that was the thing. It was this one here. It was this one right here. This crazy looking candle. You know, that is a possibility, right? That is a possibility. I'm not sure if we'll get that or not. Obviously, I don't think we will. I don't think we're in the same situation that we were up here, but, you know, just saying that is a possibility. But the levels remain as, you know, as before. Or NVIDIA, if it does sell off even further, you pretty much 117 to 118-ish, you want to hold that. You just want to hold that. NVIDIA doesn't want to lose that. That's also going to be roughly where the 50 EMA is going to start coming in at 117. We pretty much want to hold that and pretty much just don't want to be starting to close candles, 1 hour candles below the 50 EMA. If we start doing that, you know, that is going to start showing signs of potential weakness essentially in the stock and, you know, some signs of concern. So let's watch for that, right? I don't think it will. I think NVIDIA is holding pretty strong. I actually think the market's starting to, you know, look to turn around sometime this week. And I think overall the market's setting up for a nice rally, probably after FOMC is my guess. But I don't think NVIDIA is going to sell off that hard. I don't think it's going to rocket past 130. I think it'll take time. I think 130 is like best case scenario, honestly, by the end of this month. I don't think we'll go much higher than that either. But I also don't, as of right now, I don't think we're going to be dropping below 117 to 118. If we do, then, you know, that is a cause for concern and the plans are beginning to change, of course. But the next thing NVIDIA wants to do to move higher is essentially break pretty much the high of today, which is pretty much 123. If we break 123, the next level to look out for is 125 to 126, break above that, and we can start, you know, more confidently talking about 130 or close to 130, which would essentially be a move back up to the upper end of the channel, which again could look something like this, for instance, as an example, right? And that's where things will start getting interesting once again. Do we reject and make our way all the way down, or do we finally break out and make our way to potentially fresh all-time highs, right? That's where we're going to start looking at the stock more intently like that. We're not there just yet, one step at a time, but I still think it's looking pretty solid. I don't see any obvious concerns other than this potential bearish piercing candle, which again, I'm not sure if that wick invalidates it or not 100% sure. But nonetheless, still looking pretty solid. The stock is looking beautiful. I don't see too many problems other than this potential bearish piercing candle. I think it still looks pretty solid. It's been showing relative strength. The weekly is still looking pretty good. You can see now we're turning the 50 EMA into, on the weekly, into support. You can see we came down into it. This trend line and the 50 EMA now acting as a support, which is good. And if NVIDIA can close this week essentially above last week's high, that will be about, honestly, above 122. If we close above 122 this week, which I think we will, that'll be very bullish. It'll further validate this actual bullish piercing candle on the weekly time frame, which is very powerful. And I think, you know, I'd be surprised if we don't see closer to 130, honestly, by the end of the month. So essentially end of next week. I'd be pretty surprised, honestly, if we don't see that, assuming, of course, that 117, 118 level continues to hold, which I also expect it to. I think that's about it. I'm not sure if I'm missing too much more. That's the majority of what I wanted to talk about. Going into options flow, let's take a look at options flow. NVIDIA, 10 million confirmed bearish flow. It's nothing for NVIDIA though. That means pretty much diddly squats. In terms of you know, the flow throughout the day, nice little bull flow throughout the day, but you know, again, nothing really standing out to me for now. I saw a lot of call sells for next Friday at closer to 130. The premium on NVIDIA right now is implied volatility, I should say, which in turn makes the premium higher, is a little bit elevated. I assume it's because of Jensen's speech tomorrow. But I'm not sure exactly why. I assume it's because of Jensen's speech tomorrow. So the IV is pretty elevated. If I see a green NVIDIA tomorrow, I will most likely be selling calls against my shares, probably before 130, probably for this week, maybe next week. Because again, I just don't see it going much higher than that. I think there's a good chance that NVIDIA actually kind of like chops around this area, kind of like this, maybe slowly eases up or something. But for the most part, I do expect it to kind of be relatively choppy around this area, as low as 117 to as high as about 130. I do expect chop around that area. Which could be great for premium sellers or option sellers. I think that's pretty much it though. I don't think I'm missing too much. Nice MACD crossover on the bullish side today, which is always a good sight to see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't think I'm missing much more. That's the majority of what I wanted to cover. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.